on News Talk 1440 WROK.
Get right back where we started from. It's the playoffs this weekend. We find out who plays who. And with us right now, we have one of our favorite guests, Rockford Lutheran head football coach Bruce Bazsali. Hey, Coach, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay.
Good. How was that trip to Rock Falls? That's a long trip, isn't it?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. It's very long.
Well, first things first, coming out of the game last night, how's the health?
Well, we had one injury last night. It was crazy. You talk about fate. Right before half, we're winning, and Rock Falls has the ball, and the clock doesn't start. They run a play, and the clock never ran. And we said something to this, there's like 23 seconds left or something. The clock doesn't run, and so they're going to, tack time on, but they really didn't. All they did was start the clock, and the ref waited a few seconds before he blew the whistle. So you had maybe a few seconds on, not really a whole play and what transpires in a play. So, we felt like the half should have been over. They throw a pass deep to the end zone. Nick Brigham jumps up, intercepts it at the 2, starts running it back at about the 50. He goes down, and as he's going down, somebody stepped on his foot, and his leg twisted, and he broke his lower leg, his tibia. Oh. So he will be done for the playoffs, and it's too bad because he's a great player. We've got, fortunately, depth this year, but you hate to see that happen to a kid who's played so well all year long. So that made the trip a little bit longer and a little bit sadder, losing him just because he's such a great kid.
First of all, congratulations, Coach. You win the Big Northern West, an undefeated season. You're probably going to be a number 1 seed in your division. It's been a pretty good year for the old Crusaders.
Yeah, it has. Right from the start, with playing Quincy Notre Dame, a team that's ranked A, ended up losing that's the first game they lost. They went down to Florida and played, which is crazy. I know it's tough sometimes to find that last game, but geez, I thought we had a long trip. Well, Rock Falls is a long way. I can't imagine being in Clearwater, Florida. The weather was probably a little bit better.
Exactly. I know these things are, in the big scheme of things, maybe a little overrated or meaningless, but, how big of a deal is it for you guys at the school there to be ranked the number 1 team in Class 4A in the state?
Well, it's a great feeling, and really what it is more than anything else, it's a testament to our kids and the guys that coached them, and, just as a statement, really, of how far our program has come in 5 years, where we got no recognition for anything, even being bad. I think when you're as bad as we were, I don't think anybody really talked about yet. We just feel real good about what's happened, and especially for the kids. All the kids that played before our kids and stuck with football at Lutheran when it was tough and the league dominated them, and now that they can be a conference champion and rated number 1 in the state is just a neat thing. Now you got to play for it. Now the rating doesn't mean too much. You got to play for it.
Is there some days though, Coach, you feel like Rodney Dangerfield, like you're not getting any respect over there at Lutheran?
Oh yeah, there's a lot of those. I think it's just the way it is. I think that I think there's a changing of a guard, and I think people just don't like to see teams that have been down. At first they like to see it come up. Oh, that's kind of neat. You guys win a few games. As long as you're second or third or fourth. The teams that have been winning don't really care that much. But when you start winning, it becomes a little bit tougher. People start aiming at you and looking at you, and our whole league is sort of upside down this year compared to the way things were with Mendota and Dixon, coming in and doing really well. They haven't been around and very long, and so seeing Oregon slip in is really cool because they're an established team and they've been around, and I'm not sure if Byron's going to get in. They have, I think they got. I don't know if they got the playoff points or I don't know how it's all going to pan out. And because so many teams got beat last night that were winning, and it's just, I don't know, it's going to be crazy. There's a lot of changes last night if you look at those scores.
Mm-hmm.
I think the biggest change for you guys this year has been your defense. You guys have been scoring points for years, but you always had to win shootouts in the past if you were going to win at all. How big has that change been now with the defense, where I think you guys are only giving up like 8 points a game or something like that?
Yeah, they, oh my gosh. It's just amazing how well our defense has played, and they played so much as one. I give a lot of credit to my defensive coordinator, Mike Mullaney, who a close friend of mine that drives up from Cary Grove to coach with us, and Ben Thompson, who was my offensive line coach, is taking over as the co-coordinator with Mike, and those guys come up with some great defensive plans, and what they've really got is those kids playing together as a team, and they all go to the ball, and they all play their position, they all do what they're supposed to do, and that makes things just a lot better, and the kids have taken a lot of pride in it, because for years, it's been like shootouts, and, nothing against those kids or those coaches. It's just, the way it was, and it's been a process, and this year everything just came together.
You look at it, Coach, you guys have had a lot of what we would call blowouts this season. A lot of people say, well, Lutheran probably is not going to be ready for the playoffs because their kids never got to play a full game. But I guess the other side of that is you got to probably play a lot of kids that wouldn't have saw some action. In case you do need some people to come in, they should be ready to go.
That's true, and that's the one silver lining in the cloud is we got backups that can play, and very, very capable backups, and we have much more depth than we've ever had before. And people say that, but you learn a lot. I know. I'm sure Stillman Valley over the years became such a good playoff team because they've been to the playoffs so often, and I think the same is true of Byron and Winnebago last year, and these teams, they go to the playoffs and they get 3 or 4 games under the belt each year, and in Stillman's case it was a lot more, but you become very playoff savvy. You know things you have to do to get there and to survive, and I think last year's run that we made was really huge for us to get that savviness down. This will be our 3rd year in a row, and our kids now are used to playing in the postseason. It takes time for kids to adjust to that. They're used to not going that long. Some of them are already thinking about basketball or wrestling already, and you got to keep that out of their heads that they're still playing and that they can go on, and they got to believe that they can win. And there's just so many factors to the second season here of playoffs that experience can help with, and I think we have some of that experience now by being in our 3rd year, and those teams in our conference that have gone before us and have done it, they know. I think that's why they always did so well in the playoffs.
You can probably spin it either way, but how big is it, though, to, cut down some of those hits maybe on a James Robinson or a Jalen Horton as the season goes on? Because there's obviously going to come a point where you guys are probably going to have to lean on those kind of guys all 4 quarters in the playoffs. So how nice is it to know that, you kind of were able to get them some rest throughout the season?
Yeah, there's no doubt that in the past we were beat up. There's no doubt that teams we play are very physical, and then the playoff road was very physical last year. Rochelle and Harvard were 2 of the most physical teams we played, and of course, the Big Northern is always physical. It's just that some people think like, wow, well maybe the league was down. I just think they're just different teams that are winning. We were just fortunate to match up well against the teams in our league this year and be able to do well.
We all know about James Robinson, what a great player he is. Is there an underrated player on your team that you think needs to get some more attention, some guy that's just steady every game for you, Coach?
Well, there's so many kids. I mean, Nate Weeding is an awesome player. He's a great receiver and a great blocker, and Marcus Hayes has stepped up and done a great job as a receiver. Of course, Jalen Horton is just really throwing the ball really, really well, and completing a lot of passes and timely passes, and he manages the offense really well. Luke Anderson is an awesome kid who doesn't get hardly any recognition, but yet we had played without Joey Carabello last night because he had a slight concussion. He'll be back, but Somebody had to take his place at corner against the throwing team, and Luke stepped in and did a great job there. And Tim Kohler has been real steady playing both ways. Matt Anderson is a two-way player for us at linebacker and offensive tackle. Our defensive line, those kids all just step up and play. They don't get a lot of recognition. Logan Davis, and as a linebacker, has been outstanding. When I mentioned the line, I talk about Caleb Pearson and Joey Hareslack and Nate Gully and Mitch Loom. Those kids rotate in there, and a lot of people don't see those kids. Their moms, they know they're playing. Moms always know their linemen's sons, and so that's really kind of cool. The line has stepped up. They're all juniors. So there's a lot of kids. We definitely are not a one-way team. There's a lot of kids that deserve a lot of credit, and James realized that, and he knows that. And there's just so many kids. I could go on. And Nick Brigham, who got hurt last night, has been an awesome player for us. And unfortunately, at the beginning of the year, I kind of wonder how good we'd be if we had Austin Sikora, who was the fastest kid on our team and a great receiver coming back from last year. It was bigger and stronger, and we haven't had him since our scrimmage game. So there's a lot of kids that we've got a lot of players. I think, are a good team.
You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself, obviously, but you can kind of look around the 4A landscape. There's Phillips, there's Geneseo, obviously a 4-time defending champ in Rochester. How do you think you guys match up, if you're able to make it, a little bit further along in the playoffs?
I think it's high school football. I think anybody can beat anybody on any given night, and I think we showed last year that we could step up and beat teams that a lot of people thought we didn't deserve to be on the field with, and you just got to prepare for the games, and kids got to be ready to play, and they got to believe they can win. And I think we do have that factor going for us this year, that kids believe they can win, and we'll just have to see how it goes.
And I hear you're going to be a guest on the show tonight for the IHSA that they're having the selection show. Are you ready for TV, Coach?
Cool thing. That's neat. You watch it every year, and now here we are. We're going to be showcased a little bit for 4A. That's kind of neat, and it's going to be very interesting how things pan out. There's a lot of speculation, but a lot of things happened last night that I think are going to change the way people speculate. I have no clue now what's going to happen.
At least you admit it. That's good.
Oh yeah, I have no idea. I know we're going to be playing somebody sometime.
Attaboy.
That's a good call.
Before I let you go, what is Lutheran doing tonight? Are you going to have a selection show party or anything?
Yeah, we're going to be over at school. We meet, we get together, we eat a little bit of food, and we watch it on the big screen, and just anticipate what's going to happen, and it'll be real interesting.
The only thing you lied about, Coach, was you're going to eat a little bit of food. I think there's probably going to be a lot of food eaten at that party.
I'm a nervous eater, so yeah, I gain weight as the season goes on. Tonight will not help me.
Yeah, and Matt's going to be on that show, so you look at him all dressed up, okay?
Oh, wow. That'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, you can see him in person instead of radio. Pretty cool, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thanks so much, Coach, for being on today. Good luck to you in the playoffs, and hopefully when you win that state championship, we can talk again.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It'd be really cool. Thanks.
We've been talking to Coach Bruce Bazsali from the Rockford Lutheran Crusaders, and it's kind of an interesting story. They went from 0 and forever,
and everything, yeah,
to 9-0. So
9-0 conference championship, #1 in the state. It's a very, very good story.
I love veteran coaches like Coach Bazsali. You know why? Because he just tells you like it is.
Yeah, no time to mess around at this point.
There was no coach talk at all in that. Right. That's what I love. We're going to take it, and you know what? I asked him to name one underrated player. How many did he name? About 30?
Yes, I think he named the roster.
That's good. I like that, too. We'll take a time out here on the State Line Sports Hour on News Talk 1440 WROK.
Hey, this is Greg Saunders, your host for the Saturday Morning State